welcome back. Today we are doing a quick Logic Pro X tutorial based around the UltraBeat synth. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use the sequencer. I'm going to show you how to drag and drop your own sounds into the UltraBeat, and then I'm going to show you how to export your MIDI files out of the drum machine and into the arrangement view. Alright, so let's get cracking. Software instrument. So the UltraBeat is a software instrument, so we want to get software instrument highlighted there. Right, come down to your drop down menu, select UltraBeat drum synth, click that, and then press create. Right, that's going to give us our UltraBeat drum machine on the track 1 there. Right, give it a name, UltraBeat, press enter. Now we know where it is. Right, so now we need to see the front panel of the UltraBeat. So to do that, we come over to this mixer view right here. It says UltraBeat in blue. Right, you don't want to click the standby or the drop down menu either side, you just want to click the middle. Right, so double click the middle. That's going to bring up the front window for the UltraBeat. Right, so I'll give you the layout quick. Basically, all down the left here is all the different sounds and samples that are loaded in. So this is a factory default preset, which means that there's going to be some sounds already in. There's going to be a sequence already plumbed in as well. But if you click these little sort of keys on the side, you can sample the sounds that are already in the drum beat, the UltraBeat. Right, so then those are your sounds here. You get mutes, you get solos. I wouldn't worry too much about those for now, right? Just sort of test out the sounds with the keys. Then you want to come down the bottom, right? This is the sequencer. So sequencer is it's basically just a pattern of numbers. This one runs from 1 to 32 in sequence. So it goes from 1 to 32 and then loops back to the start. Okay, so that's basically what a sequencer is doing. It's just running through a sequence of numbers and then looping again. So that is a sequencer briefly explained. Right, so to turn our sequencer on, we need to press the standby button here. Hit that. It starts playing the sequence already, okay? Once the standby's on, you can use the space bar to sort of stop and start your sequencer. If you want it to go back from the beginning, press this play button here, and it'll play from the beginning of the sequence. Okay, so that is a sequencer. That's what it looks like. If we want to actually change things in our sequencer, we need to, first of all, highlight the sound we want to change. So we're on the kick drum right now. So we're getting a kick drum on the 4th beat, on the 1st beat, on the 4th beat, on the 17th and the 23rd. So if I want to add more kicks into this sequence, all I need to do is click these lights on. So the more you click on, the more kick drums we're going to get. Yeah, so then if we move on to the snare drum, for example, we need to click the snare drum so it's highlighted. Then you can see it changes our sequence values down here. So with the snare drum selected, if I click a bunch of these on, we're going to get more snares. Yeah, so same with all of these sounds. If I click all these ones on, we're just going to get continuous snares. Right, so that's the kind of front view sequencer and how you actually put sequences in. So let's stop that a sec. If we go to our full view, which is down here on the bottom right corner, right, it's going to bring up all of our sounds in sequence view. So let's do that. Click full view. There we are. So you can see everything that's been sequenced into this loop there. Right, you can click them on, you can click them off. If you want to get rid of them all at once, find one that is on, click it so it goes off, and then drag a box across the whole space. You'll delete all that, right? So now we have preset sounds, but no sequences at all. So if I select my kick drum, I can put in some kicks here on the ones, nice and basic, just to demonstrate. Put a snare drum on every other one like this. Put a hi-hat in somewhere. Let's see, use that. Right, so we've put our own sequence in now. If we press the space bar, it's going to play our sequence out. Right, so another thing about the sequencer you need to know, guys, is this bottom area here. You can see we've been clicking these on and off. As we do, we get a sort of bar down here. Some of them are different lengths. This is representative of the velocity of the hit. Okay, so let me just delete all this just to give you an example. If I want a kick drum on the 1, kick drum on the 5, kick drum on the 9, these are all going to play at the same velocity right now, so they'll be same volume, same sort of tonality. Right, if I want to change this, I can bring it down. So this is going to give me a full-bodied, full velocity kick on the 1, and then a sort of half a velocity on the 5 and half on the 9, right? So, right, we're on the hi-hat we are, but you get what I'm saying. Let's do the kicks. Yeah. So I'm just bringing the velocity down on these 2-second kicks. Give you a bit more example. I'll give you a bit more of an extreme example as well. So here we go. So you can hear the difference. Loud, loud. Yeah, so that last one was really quiet there. So that's your velocity settings, guys. Each hit has its own velocity input. So yeah, you can start fiddling about with velocities down here on your hits as well. The gate is a separate issue again. Gate, instead of up and down, it's left to right. So this is the amount of time you want the gate to be open. So if you've got a long release on your kick drum, you want a long gate so that the whole kick drum plays. With a short gate of 1, you're only going to get that first initial hit. So really the gate is linked to the length of the sound of the sample you're playing. So that's the sequencer, roughly speaking. We're going to go back to the front view now, and I need to show you how to get your own samples in here, okay? So we're on factory default, like I said before. You want to click the drop down menu, come to drum kits, and look for drag and drop samples. So it says it there, drag and drop. You click that. What that's going to do is it's going to basically take out all of these preset sounds we had in here to start. So now we have no sounds in the UltraBeat whatsoever. So what we need to do is, like it suggests, drag and drop our own samples in. So I'm going to go to my finder, I'm going to look for a kick drum. Kick. See if this works. That'll do. Right, so when you found your kick you want to drag and drop it into this square by here. So yeah, it's come up with a plus sign, it's giving me a white box. So I release that, and then I've got my kick in my first hit on my samplers then. Right, so you just repeat the process, highlight sample 2, maybe just name this first so you don't get confused. Kick, highlight sample 2, I'm going to put a snare in there, okay, so I'm going to name that snare, look for a snare drum. Should be one here. Alright, we don't want that one. That's the thing to note, guys, right? See this? I play this. There's a space at the front of the sample before it kicks in. You don't want that, right? Because if there's any space at the start of your audio recording, it's going to mess your timings up when you go to sequence it. So there we go. So you want a sound that literally starts right at the beginning of the audio clip. So there we go. You can see it's right at the beginning. So now we've got a kick drum and our own snare drum. You can continue the process, put hats in, you can drop vocal samples, synth samples, whatever you want into this. It's a sampler as well as a drum synth. So yeah, I would suggest put whatever sounds in you want. You get 25 options. So yeah, feel free to chuck whatever you want in there. So right now I've got 2 sounds in. I'm going to go back to my full view. You don't have to use the full view, but I prefer to. And then I'm going to put these in, and we should hear our own sounds in the loop. Put the snare drum in there, snare drum. You know, quite boring, guys, but yeah, that's the demonstration right there. Kick drum, snare drum. So of course, once you fill this up with all your sounds, you know, you can write your own sequences all across here, experiment with the sequencer and your own sounds. So that's dropping your own sounds in, okay? Next thing I need to tell you quickly about is just exporting this MIDI from the sequencer, because at the minute it only currently exists in our sequencer. It's not in the arrangement view, so we need to get it from the sequencer into the arrangement view, okay? So to do that, you need to look for this little button down here. It's quite hidden away and it's not easy to find. But next to the word pattern, it says drag to arrange window. So what that'll do is it'll take everything in the sequencer, turn it into MIDI, and then it's going to drop a MIDI file onto our arrangement view. Okay, so I'll just show you it quick. So I click, I drag, bring it up here, release, and there we go. So now we've got our sequenced pattern in the arrangement view. So one thing to note, guys, is if the sequencer standby button is still on here and you're playing from the arrangement view, so right now we shouldn't get any MIDI notes, but if we play this, we're getting sounds out of our sequencer. So what you need to do, once you've dragged your MIDI out into your arrangement view, you have to remember to turn off the standby button. Otherwise, there's going to be drum sounds in your track and you're not going to be sure why. Okay, so turn that off, turn the standby off. Now, when we play, we're going to get our sequence during the MIDI region, and then it's going to turn off afterwards. Yeah, so always remember to turn the standby button off on the sequencer, or that's going to confuse you. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it, really. So, you know, this is the sequencer area. This is how you turn sequences on and off. This is the full view. This is the front window. And remember, go up here and go to kits and drag and drop samples to get your own sounds in. And you drop them into this window here, depending on which sound you're on, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully that helps you out. And that's enough from me, and I'll see you on the next one.